Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics, how to serve that ball harder. Two key reminders: that ball is not going to go any faster across the net than my paddle is swinging through the air. I have to swing this paddle fast. Second reminder, the faster, the harder I swing this paddle, the more things get out of control. We need to go practice. Today I'm going to talk about distance and acceleration, and I'm going to use the analogy of you in your car. So let's say you're in your car, you want to get up to a high speed. Let's say you have a mile runway. You can get your car up probably to about its maximum speed. So I can be going really fast by the end of that mile. Now imagine we only have a couple of 100 feet or maybe a city block. I can't get up to that same high speed because I don't have the same amount of distance as I do if I have that mile runway. If I have that longer distance, it gives me more time to accelerate. I can be at a higher speed by the time I get to the end of that mile. How does this apply to serving? Simply put, the further away my paddle is from the ball, the more distance, the more time I have to accelerate that paddle to a higher and higher speed. And again, that ball's not going any faster across that net than my paddle is going when it hits this ball. If you watched my videos of me demoing my serve earlier on in this series, you may have noticed that when I start my swing, my paddle is all the way up here. And the reason for that is I want the maximum distance that I can get this paddle away from this ball. Gives me more time to accelerate, more distance to accelerate my paddle before it hits that ball. It's the same concept as I use when you're in your car and you have that mile to accelerate your car. So the further I can get my paddle away from this ball, gives me more distance and more time to accelerate by the time my paddle gets to that ball. It's likely that most of you don't start your service motion from this far away from the ball. I get it. I didn't start there either. I had to work up to that over time. So one way to have this ball go faster, have our paddle travel faster through space by the time I hit this ball, is to get this paddle further and further away. Let's say that this is where your forward swing starts. Then as we're drilling, and we need to be drilling, start having this paddle a little bit further away and get proficient at hitting a serve from with the paddle this far away, a little bit further away, a little bit further away, a little bit further away. So we work our way up to how far can we get this paddle away from this ball and still control this serve, this swing, and have that serve be consistent going across that net. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of this whole backswing thing. So as we swing harder to get this ball to go faster across the net, does it mean that my backswing has to be faster and then my forward swing, or do I have a nice lazy, or not lazy, but relaxed backswing to get back here and then go forward? I know in golf they talk about having this nice little relaxed backswing and then a powerful forward swing. I get that. I don't have a problem with that. It works in golf, so it would work here, but the question is, can you do it? And then over time, as we get this paddle further and further away, if my starting point of my serve is here and I have to get this all the way back here, is that kind of a reasonable or easy thing to do? Which is one of the reasons I don't do it. So I have gotten to the point where this paddle is just about as far away as I can get it. I don't want to be here and start my service motion here and get this paddle all the way back and then have to come all the way forward. I just simply want to start here, and I think I can start more consistently in the same location here. If you go back and watch those serving demos, you can see whether I do that or not. Maybe I don't, maybe I haven't watched it that closely, but end result is that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of this backswing. I don't think it helps a lot. And then the question is, as we swing harder, are we trying to have just as quick of a backswing as we do a forward swing, or are those two different? Again, I really don't care that much if you start here and you come back and go forward. I question how hard are you going to be able to eventually hit that ball going the other way. I've taught a few people how to do this. Some of them still do this and they still have a good serve, so maybe that's good enough. Bottom line though is we want to work up to having that paddle further and further away. It just gives us more time and distance to accelerate this paddle to get that ball going faster across the net. You want to work up to this Long term, again, you got to go practice. And let's say that we're here right now, then we want to raise this paddle up a few inches, maybe 6 inches, have that be our new norm as we're drilling. So I want to be here, and there's some flexibility and strength in this shoulder as well. The further I get this paddle away, you may not be able to reach all the way up here just because of a lack of flexibility in the shoulder. I've done this for a while, so I can get my paddle fairly far away. Go drill. If you're here, just simply raise this paddle up a few more inches and have that be your new normal, right? We get proficient, we get good at that. Raise that paddle up a few more inches, maybe a couple weeks later, get proficient at that, raise it up another 6 inches until you get it up as far away as you can get this paddle and still control that serve. Got to go practice this, but there's no replacement, there's no getting around having this paddle that far away from the ball. Now, if I'm serving facing the net, it gets a little bit difficult to get that paddle that far away. So if you watch my serving demo videos, how far that paddle was away from the ball, it's a little bit difficult for me to imagine being in this position with that paddle that far away if I'm square and facing the net. So is what it is. That's the food for thought today, is try and get that paddle further away over time, work up to that. There's no replacement for distance to be able to accelerate to a higher speed.